Welcome to a deep dive. Today we're really focusing on helping you find your voice, especially when it matters most, like in business meetings.
Yeah.
This one's really for you if you've, ever been on a Zoom call, just sitting there quietly, maybe a bit afraid to unmute.
Or worried your English isn't, quote, good enough to speak up.
Exactly.
And it's such a common feeling. You're definitely not alone in that. We see this anxiety, well, everywhere. Business meetings, they can be genuinely intimidating. I mean, even for native speakers sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
There's often this pressure, isn't there? To sound smart, use just the right words.
Or answer questions like instantly.
Right. And fast. There's actually a LinkedIn study found over 60% of professionals feel nervous speaking up in meetings.
Wow, 60%.
Yeah. And that number, it jumps even higher if English isn't your first language.
That makes sense.
But here's the thing, the real truth. Confidence. It's not really about perfect grammar, is it? Or having this massive vocabulary.
Not at all. It's fundamentally built on other things like preparation, having a strong mindset.
And picking up a few simple habits, really. Strategic ones that help you use the English you already have, even if you feel a bit shaky.
That's the key takeaway right there. It's less about, flawless language and much more about comfort and strategy. So today we're going to walk you through 3, let's say, powerful pillars to help you speak with real confidence.
Okay, pillars. Let's unpack the first one. Pillar 1, prepare with purpose.
Right.
So before any meeting, just take a moment. Jot down a few key points, or maybe some questions, comments you might want to make.
Even really simple stuff.
Yeah, super simple, like I agree with that point and I'd like to add. Something like that.
Or, could I ask a quick question about the timeline?
Exactly. What's the real magic behind writing it down, though? Even just a phrase or two.
Well, planning ahead like that, it acts as a sort of like a safety net for your brain.
Right.
Cognitive safety net.
Okay. Cognitive safety net. I like that.
Yeah, it pre-activates the pathways for speaking, so it reduces that mental load when you're actually in the meeting, that fear of your mind going blank.
Oh, the brain freeze.
Exactly. Yeah. It just frees up some mental bandwidth right when you need it.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And that idea, reducing the mental load, it actually leads perfectly into the next pillar, pillar 2. Start small. You don't need to give some, huge speech to make an impact.
Absolutely not.
Just start with small things. Low-stakes interactions, like what simple phrases.
Like just saying good morning, everyone, when you join.
Right. Or, that sounds interesting. Thanks for sharing.
Things like that. Perfect starting points.
And why does that work? Is it just being polite?
Well, it's polite, sure. But it's more than that. This kind of, small talk, it actually builds comfort and rapport.
Okay.
You're not really trying to impress anyone at that stage. You're just connecting, establishing your presence in the room, basically.
Building that foundation first.
Precisely. Before you even think about the more complex points later on.
Okay, got it. So, preparation, starting small. What about when you're actually in the thick of it? The discussion's happening, maybe you feel a bit unsure, or you just need a second to think.
Yeah, that's where pillar 3 comes in, using confidence phrases.
Confidence phrases. Tell me more. What does that look like?
Well, think about saying something like, let me think for a second.
Okay. Buys you a moment.
Exactly. Or, that's a great question. I'll do my best to answer.
Nice. It sounds composed.
And it's really important to see these aren't just like filler words. They're tools, strategic tools.
Okay.
So if you don't have the answer right away, maybe the data isn't at your fingertips.
Yeah.
You could say something like, I don't have that data right now, but I can definitely follow up after the meeting.
And that shows you're on it, right?
Yeah.
Not that you don't know anything.
Exactly. It shows professionalism, engagement, commitment, not weakness at all.
Okay, so those 3 pillars. Prepare, start small, use confidence phrases. That feels like a really solid framework.
It is.
But, even with all that, sometimes the nerves just hit you, don't they? I remember leading my very first big project meeting. I was literally sweating bullets.
Oh, yeah.
Totally prepared, had all my facts lined up.
Yeah.
But I was so nervous, I actually forgot how to even start the reading, just blanked.
Wow. Been there. What did you do?
Well, honestly,
Yeah.
I just took a deep breath, tried to smile, and said something really simple like, okay, thanks everyone for being here today. Let's dive in.
Just getting started.
Yeah. And that small sentence, it kind of broke the spell, calmed my nerves enough to actually, take control. It shifted the energy.
That's a great example. And that feeling, the sweating bullets, the physical reaction, it actually connects perfectly to the science behind this stuff.
Oh, interesting. Tell me about the science.
Well, what happens in our bodies when we feel that pressure? It's a classic stress response, getting you ready for action.
Right, fight or flight.
Yeah.
Or freeze in my case.
Ha, exactly. But here's the really cool part, backed by research from places like Harvard. When you feel nervous, your body's physiological reaction, it's actually incredibly similar to how it reacts when you feel excited.
Huh. Nervousness and excitement feel the same. Physically.
Pretty much the same signals. Increased heart rate, maybe sweaty palms, that adrenaline surge, which means you can actually choose how you interpret those signals.
You mean like relabel the feeling?
Exactly. Instead of telling yourself, oh no, I'm nervous, try actively reframing it. Tell yourself, okay, I'm excited to share my thoughts.
Does that actually work?
Well, there's a study by Dr. Allison Wood-Brooks found that this simple mental shift, this reframing, can cut anxiety by up to 30%.
30%? Just by changing the label from nervous to excited.
Yeah. It's not just positive thinking. It's like a neuro-linguistic trick. You're basically telling your brain, hey, this energy, it's not a threat, it's fuel. You harness the adrenaline instead of letting it paralyze you.
Wow, okay. That is powerful. And going back to the English language aspect, does practicing help with that in-the-moment feeling?
Absolutely. Practicing short, real-life dialogues, even if you're just talking to yourself, rehearsing a few key sentences in English, it trains your brain, it builds those pathways to retrieve vocabulary and structure sentences more smoothly when you're under pressure. Like building muscle memory, but for speaking.
Muscle memory for spoken English. I like that. Okay, this is all great stuff. To make it super practical, maybe we could give people some specific phrases they can use, right away.
Good idea. Let's nail down 5 ready-to-use phrases for that next meeting. Where should we start? How about just jumping into the conversation?
Okay, yeah. To add your point, you could say, can I add something to that point?
Nice and simple. Polite, direct, shows you're listening.
Exactly. Doesn't feel like interrupting.
Okay, what if you see things differently? You want to offer another viewpoint, maybe gently disagree.
Then you could try. I'd like to offer another perspective.
I like that. It sounds collaborative, not, argumentative.
Right. Opens things up instead of shutting them down.
Good one. Okay, what about, oops, I said something, but maybe it wasn't clear. How do I fix that?
Yeah. For clarification, just a simple, let me clarify what I meant, works really well.
Oh, shows you care about being understood.
Totally. Okay, next one. How about showing you're enthusiastic about an idea and want to move it forward?
Showing initiative.
Yeah. Try. That's a great idea. How can we move it forward?
Oh, I like that. Very action-oriented. Shifts the focus to what's next. Shows leadership potential, too.
Definitely.
Okay.
Okay, last one. What about just acknowledging something? Someone gives you feedback or an idea.
And you want to show you've heard it, but maybe not commit immediately.
Exactly. The classic. Thanks. I'll take that into consideration.
Professional. Keeps things open. Doesn't lock you in.
Perfect. So using these kinds of phrases, even just one or two, can really help you, step into the conversation more confidently. Build your voice.
For sure. It gives you ready-made tools.
Okay, so let's do a quick recap of the main ideas from this deep dive.
Yeah, let's pull it together.
Remember, confidence. It really comes from preparation, right? Not chasing some idea of perfection.
Absolutely key. And use those short strategic phrases we talked about. They buy you time, help you sound professional.
And that mental shift from I'm nervous to I'm excited.
Don't underestimate that one. It's powerful. Plus, taking the time to practice sentences beforehand, especially in English if that's your concern.
Builds that muscle memory.
Yep. And finally, always remember to start small. Even just a hello or good morning when you join the call. It starts building your presence.
It all adds up.
Definitely. So the action step for you listening, it's really simple this time.
Okay.
Just pick one phrase, any one phrase from our discussion today, and make a commitment to yourself to use it in your very next meeting.
Just one.
Just one to start. Could be as simple as, thanks for the update, or can I add something? The specific phrase isn't the point as much as the act of doing it, taking that step.
Okay, I like that. One small step.
Exactly.
All right. And finally, let's leave you with maybe a provocative thought to chew on.
Ooh.
Think about this. Your voice in a meeting. It isn't just about the words you say. It's about the unique perspective, the value that only you bring to that table. So how might these small, consistent steps, just speaking up a little bit each time, How might that not just build your personal confidence, but actually fundamentally reshape how people see your contributions? And maybe even change the trajectory of your career?
That's a powerful question to consider. It's not just about surviving meetings, but actually thriving and adding your unique value.
Exactly. Something to think about.